Hello there. See, we have one person here so far. We'll wait a little bit and see if anybody else comes in before I get going. Thanks for stopping in, Kirk. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to go over a few things, but if you have anything you'd like to get started with, feel free to type it in. So we'll wait to see if we get a few more people here. All right. Well, we have a couple people in here now, so I might as well get going. The reason I wanted to do a live this week is normally my videos come out on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock Mountain Time. If you haven't been aware of when they're released, that's when I do it every week. This week, I'm not going to be around. I'm actually helping my daughter move, so we are not even in Montana right now. So I wanted to do a live video, so I had something come out this week. So figured I'd just do a Q&A, answer any questions that people may have or have had for a while. And the first couple things I want to go over, I had posted it on the community page on the YouTube channel. I think you guys all get notified when I post anything on there, but there's a local contest going on that I was nominated for, and I would appreciate your vote. It would be great if everyone on our channel voted for me. That would be a pretty good turnout. And I put the link for that down below in the notes. So again, I would really appreciate if you guys would do that. And the other thing too is a couple weeks ago, I started a Facebook group, and some people got nervous that I was going to quit doing YouTube and move over to Facebook, but that was not the case at all. I just did the Facebook group so we could, if somebody wanted to communicate more regularly than the once a week that I put videos out, they could do it from that group. So the Facebook group is called Living in Montana. It's the same title as this YouTube channel. And I also put the link for that down in the notes as well. So if you have not joined that group, please do. And you can get a hold of us on a daily basis there. Because like I said, I put out the YouTube videos once a week. The other thing too is if you are looking for a place up here in Montana, a lot of people have already done this, but you can email me or email us at montanaliferealty@gmail.com, and I will set you up on our MLS site. And that site is great because it's updated in real time, unlike the Zillows and the national sites of the world. I realize they have great websites and they're easy to use, and that's great, but a lot of times they don't update the site quickly enough. And in this market, if you are looking for a place, you need to be on top of it, and our MLS site updates in real time. So if you want a link to that, just email me again at montanaliferealty@gmail.com, and I will hook you up on that. And so anyway, let's see if we got any questions so far. There's someone here from Japan. Hello, Great Falls, Pennsylvania. I actually went to school at Penn State, so thanks for checking in from there. Someone from Vegas. Not real thrilled with your hockey team. I'm from Minnesota, so I was not cheering for them the other night. Should I worry about any xenophobia moving from California? You know what? Everyone in every state complains about Californians. I think if you move up to Montana or anywhere and you just don't push, oh, this is how we did it here and you should change, and you'll be just fine. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Let's see. I hear there are reports of Bigfoot. Yeah, I've heard reports too. I've never seen any, but Who knows? Anyway, so let's see. I'm from California and I want to get out of here badly. So do most others. Anyway, again, if you're moving up to Montana, you're probably leaving the things that people in Montana hate. So I don't know why that would be an issue. Thank you very much for that, Kirk. Loaded question. So I want to leave Pennsylvania and head to Montana, but don't want to be around Californians. Well, you know what? They are, again, I've met some great people from California. They're not all bad. It's kind of funny how they just take the brunt of everything. I mean, obviously they have issues in their state, but if you think about it, the people that are leaving there are, they agree with, Montana people, or however you want to say it, and they want to get out of, the things that Montana people hate. So, how bad can it be? What else? I also wanted to talk about, back to our MLS site versus Zillow. What you guys may not know is Zillow is now a brokerage. It is not just the website. I did a video a long time ago on, I broke down Zillow and how that site works, and it used to be that they didn't have to follow the rules of a brokerage because they were just a website. Now that they are a brokerage, they have to actually show who the selling agents are, and their Zestimate that I always complained about is obviously going to get a lot better because now they have access to our sold data, which they didn't before. So those estimates were just crazy, and they were just pulling numbers out of nowhere. So anyway, the MLS site, again, if you want that, just email me and I will get that for you. If you watched my video I did last week, I did it about finding a rental in Montana. A lot of people think they're just going to come up, rent a place for a while and then, look around for a house. Well, that's a great idea, but rentals are almost as hard to find right now as housing is. So if that's your plan, you may want to get on rentals sooner rather than later, so you can, have somewhere to go. And, I said it in that video, if you're paying for a hotel, that adds up in a hurry, and that, you're going to burn through a lot of money. So, if you're looking for a rental, get on it soon. And I go through it all in that video. And I did say this too. It's a great job opportunity for somebody. If someone's looking for an idea up here, there is no central location to look for rentals. A lot of states, the realtors have access to rentals on their MLS. We do not. So I can't even find rentals any differently than you can. I have to go to all the different sites. You can go to Zillow, you can go to Craigslist, you can Google a town like Kalispell and just Google Kalispell rentals, and then a bunch of companies will come up and they all have their own set of listings or properties that they manage, and those will be the ones that you'll have to look at each individual company. So it takes a long time to go through all the different companies and look at all the properties for each company. So that is one of the problems with rentals right now, and you just need to be aware of that. Let's go back to the questions here. What are some of the better home or cabin builders in Montana? You know what? There's a lot of builders all over. If you want to email me, I can send you a list of the ones in our area. I'm up in the northwest part of Montana. We do have agents all over the state, so I can get you, information wherever you're going. The one thing about builders right now is that they're also backed up. So the good ones are backed up about a year right now. So again, if you're looking to come up here and build something this year, unless you're doing it yourself, it's probably not going to happen. So let's see. Bozeman. Is Montana gun law really as free as everyone says it is? You can get a concealed weapons license if your gun is not concealed. If you're carrying it in the open, yeah, you can do that. You can't bring it into federal buildings or schools or obviously things like that. But you'll see people walking around with guns on their hips around here, and you'll see guns in the back of pickup trucks on the rack. And I heard a story a long time ago when Dan Quayle was the vice president. He came up to play golf at Eagle Bend in Big Fork. And of course, the Secret Service show up a couple days before, and they'd check out the area he's going to be, and they'd just look and see who's around, who the people are that are around, and they saw all these guys riding around with guns in the back of their pickup, and I guess they had a hard time deciding how to plan everything with all these people driving around with guns in their car. But kind of a funny story. Let's see. How is the area around Marion? Is it vacant land in that area? Is there vacant land? Yeah, there is land available in Marion. It like everything else is growing now. There's a couple of little subdivisions in the town. I sold a lot to some people last year up there. So it's a nice little town, very small, not a lot there. In the town itself, there's a little bar restaurant there. There's a gas station and convenience store. And there are lots available currently around Marion. And if you get further out, if you go further to I guess it'd be west of Marion, you start getting out into there's not a lot out there. There's not a lot of internet out there. The cell service kind of goes away out that way. It's 100 miles from Kalispell to Libby. And in between Kalispell and Libby, there's really not a lot. Especially once you get past Marion, you're about 70 miles of basically wilderness. There's a little place called Happy's Inn, which again is a couple bars and restaurants there and a gas station, and some campgrounds around the lakes. I mean, it's beautiful country out there, but just not a lot out there. So let's look around some more. From PA, is it better to buy land than build, or buy a home with a few acres? Like I said, it's if you buy land, the good part, if you buy land and build a house, is you're going to get exactly what you want. You can take a look, take your time, find a nice piece of property. Obviously, you're going to need time to find a builder and to get scheduled with that builder. But when it's all done, it may be a year and a half, but you're going to have exactly what you want. Right now, with the market so tight with existing homes, the odds of you finding the perfect house and then not getting into a bidding war with a bunch of people is kind of the problem that people are having right now. So I guess my suggestion or recommendation is, if you have time and you can wait, buy some property. There's more property available, bare land property, than there is homes. So that might help you get something a little quicker. Is the Canadian border open yet? No, it is not. And I have not heard good news. I heard that it may be closed. And again, this was, hearsay. A friend of a friend said, he heard that it wasn't, they're talking maybe not until wintertime again. So who knows when they're going to open that border. I know it's kind of hurting the town of Eureka up there that's on the border. So I hope they get it open soon. I would like to go back up to Canada. It's kind of fun up there. So Let's see. How is the area around St. Ignatius? My family is going to be moving there in November. Well, if you see the picture behind me, that is taken right outside of St. Ignatius. It's beautiful down there. St. Ignatius is a pretty small town, but you have Ronan just north of there that's got, the big stores, and then Polson you have is even, more stores, which is a little north of Ronan. So yeah, and then if, Missoula is maybe an hour, if that, south of there. So St. Ignatius is nice. It's beautiful. You're looking right up at the Mission Mountains. There's a lot of great hiking up there. So yeah, it's a great area. Let's see, what kind of vehicle prep do you recommend, if any? I've been told to make sure you have a block warmer. Anything else? You know what? A block warmer, if you're on the eastern side of the state, yes. But on the western side, we don't get that bitter cold. It's pretty rare. And the reason we don't get, they get a lot more sunshine on the east side in the winter. And the clouds, that we get, it's kind of a bummer that it's cloudy, but it does keep it a lot warmer. So I would say the big thing that you need to prep your vehicles is make sure you have good winter tires or studded snow tires. I did a video on winter in Montana, so check that out. And yeah, that's all we do is put the studded snow tires on in the winter, because it is so warm. We get, it freezes and thaws. It's almost too warm in the wintertime. It'll snow, and we'll get a bunch of snow, and then it'll get up into the mid 30s. And then during the daytime, it warms up where it kind of gets wet and everything melts. And then the next morning, after a night of, getting colder, it gets down into the teens at night. Then the roads just get pretty icy and black ice in the morning. So studded snow tires are huge, and something you really need to look into if you're coming up here. How popular is hunting in Montana, and can you hunt with a bow? Yes, there is bow hunting season. It actually opens before rifle season up here. I'm not much of a hunter. I bird hunted as a kid, but I've never really done the big game hunting. But yeah, hunting is very popular in Montana. In fact, everybody I know hunts, and people do it not just for the trophy. A lot of people up here do it for the food, for the meat, and they'll hunt elk, or they'll get an elk, they'll get a deer, and then they have meat for the whole winter and half the summer. So I know a lot of people are against hunting, but people actually do it up here for the right reason. So let's see. Is the VA home loan a good option for a first-time home buyer? Is it a good option for buying a home in Montana? You know what? VA loans are great loans. They're low interest rate. They, have a low, what's the word I'm looking for? A down payment needed. So VA loans are great loans. The only problem, especially in this market that's so competitive, is that the VA appraisers are pretty tough, and the house has to be in great shape to get approved by VA, and people know that, unfortunately, and I hate that, because veterans should get these benefits, and again, it is a good loan, but like I said, in this market, with the appraiser, with the VA appraiser being so tough, the house has to be in really good shape. So if it's any kind of fixer upper, and say there's flooring missing in a room, or the roof needs to be replaced, with a VA loan, unless that's fixed before closing, they're not going to approve it, and it's not going to close. So, in this market, sellers don't have to, they're kind of in the driver's seat, because there's so many people trying to buy. They don't have to agree to do much of anything if they don't want to. And That's the only bad thing about VA loans right now, is that the appraisers make it hard to have a house be approved. Let's see, if I buy 50 acres, can I live in an RV full time? That will depend on the covenants for that particular piece of property. Every piece of property in Montana is going to have different rules. It may have different county rules. It may have different, subdivision rules. So you just need to check into that before you buy any property, whether that would be allowed or not. All right, Albatross, thank you for your donation. Should I avoid HOAs at all costs? Well, it depends on the HOA. I know what you're saying. When you're looking at a piece of property, and even if there's a house on it, if I'm your agent, whoever your agent is, they'll pull up the covenants and the HOA bylaws and all the HOA rules. And so before you pull the trigger on buying that piece of property or the lot, you can go over everything you're going to have to abide by for the HOA, and then it's totally up to you. I did a little bit about this in that video that went viral. Everybody wants to come up here because they don't want any laws, they don't want rules, they don't want HOAs, but the problem with that, it sounds great on paper, but if you buy your 50 acres, let's say, or 10 acres, whatever, and there's no covenants, you're far enough out where there's no county rules or whatever, you can't control what the neighbor does. He may want to put in a pig farm. He may want to, collect junk cars on the property. And so it's the pros and cons of the total freedom and the no laws, or putting up with an HOA and having some rules. So HOAs aren't always bad. They'll ideally they'll keep the value of the property up by enforcing laws and not allowing people to do whatever they want on the property. So that's my answer there. Let's go back up. How hot does Montana get in the summer? How cold in the winter? Again, Montana is such a big state, but basically you can cut it in half and go east and west. And just for, this description's sake, we're just going to cut it right down the middle. The east side of the state gets very cold in the winter. It's kind of like, it has the same weather as North Dakota and Minnesota. It gets the bitter cold coming down from Canada. Whereas the west side, we kind of get the Seattle flow. It's cloudier, but it stays a lot warmer in the winter. I was just saying that a minute ago. It's almost too warm. It's always about mid to upper 20s during the day. And then sometimes it'll even get up into the mid to upper 30s, and it kind of melts off and gets a little sloppy with the snow. But and then in the summertime on the west side, occasionally it'll get in the 90s, sometimes 100, but it's pretty rare. I'd have to say that there is not a more perfect climate than from about July 4th until the middle of September in western Montana. I mean, it's about 82 during the day. Every day, it's sunny every day. There's no humidity. There's no bugs. It's unbelievable. And that's where everybody comes to visit at that time and thinks it's like that year round. It is not. But yeah, the climate is great from July to September on the west side. On the east side, it does get a little warmer, and it does get a little more humid the further east you go, past Billings and all that. You'll kind of get the Midwest, that humid. You'll get the big thunderstorms. Sometimes you get tornadoes. We don't get those on the west side. So I hope that answers the weather question. Let's see. Do people own built-in pools? Some people do. It's kind of I had a house listed a couple years ago that had a pool, and I thought it was a big benefit, but nobody wanted to buy the house because of that pool. And again, I think it's because you have such a short window of using it. Like I just said, from July to September. Other than that, it's not great pool weather. And, then you're looking at the costs of maintaining it and cleaning it and all of that. So we don't see a lot of built-in pools around Montana. Let's see. Best 3 towns to consider for schooling, kindergarten through high school. We in our part of the state, they've done a lot of work in the last 10 years on building new schools. Kalispell has a brand new high school called Glacier High. Whitefish just built a new high school. Big Fork, I think they redid theirs. I would get online and just do your research for what exactly you're looking for in the different specialties, and then figure out what town or where in Montana you want to live. But the schools are pretty good around here. We had our daughter went all the way through in Whitefish, and we had a great experience. And like I said, I'm down here now helping her move, so she made it into college and is doing well. All right, what is the next question? If you have enough space around you and you don't violate any environmental laws, can you target shoot on your own property? Yes. Yep. People shoot on their own property all the time. Again, it depends on if there's covenants or how close you are to other people. But if you have a big piece of land, people shoot on that all the time. Where's the nearest big city? This is Randy. Where's the nearest big city culture restaurants? Well, from the western side, you have Spokane, that's 4 hours to the west. I don't know if you're talking about big cities in Montana or just big cities in general. We go up when the border's open. We go up to Calgary quite a bit. I like hockey. I played hockey. I reffed hockey. So we go up to Calgary quite a bit to watch Calgary Flames games. It's only 4 hours away. So that's probably the biggest city that's close to us. Once you get down around Billings and Bozeman, I guess Denver would be the biggest city close there, but that's still quite a ways away. Or Salt Lake is down on that end of the world too, on that part of Montana. So let's see. Does your governor flip Biden the bird every chance he gets? Well, yeah, that governor we have now is kind of a piece of work. He's the body slam governor. If you haven't heard about that, just Google that, and it's kind of a funny story before he became governor. But the thing, again, I said this in the last live video I did. I'm thinking about doing a video on the politics and the government of Montana. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it without everyone flipping out and freaking out, and trying to do it in a way that, it's just informational and not trying to be cause problems. But because our legislature only meets once every 2 years, we've had Democratic governors, and when we did, people were say, "Oh, I don't like Montana because I don't want to be with a Democratic governor." Well, the thing about our Democrats up here aren't like the ones you see on TV, and the state government here, because they only meet once every 2 years, the governor really doesn't do a whole lot. They just finished meeting. They meet for 4 months and then they're done, and then nothing happens. So you could argue that, that's a good thing, because, they're not making new rules every week. And you could argue that they should meet, more often, because when something needs to be done, they have to wait 2 years for anything to happen. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents on the government here in Montana. Let's see. Are there any active incentives to moving and occupying bare land anywhere in the state? You know what? Not that I'm aware of. Yeah, I don't. You have to Google that. I don't know exactly what you're asking there. So let's see. I see a lot of ranches for sale online with many deeded acres and the additional lease acres included. How do the lease acres work? You know, I'm not the expert on that, but what I know is that, you buy this property and they're paying, they're either being paid by someone to lease the ground for cattle, let's say, or they're paying the government to use the land that's part of this ranch. So again, I can get more information about that, but I don't do a lot of ranch sales, so I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for that one. Where can you get your best value on acreage? Probably on the east side of the state. It's cheaper over there. It's more desolate, I guess. That's not where everybody wants to be. So land is definitely cheaper over there. So if you're looking for bigger acreage, that would be where I would say you can get your best deal or your best prices. So, did Little Castro extend the border closing between Montana and Canada? Again, I talked about the border earlier. It's still closed. I heard that it's going to be a while again before it opens. I heard Canada's kind of locked down again. So yeah, I don't know when they're going to open that border. Again, I hope they open it soon because I want to go up to Canada. It's a lot of fun up in Calgary, but we'll see. Hopefully soon. But like I said, I heard rumors that it's going to be a while. Let's see. I think people do not want Californians to come to Montana and make it California. That is correct. They don't want people to come from anywhere and change it. So that is one of the things you will definitely hear around here. Let's see. In Kentucky, the legislature used to meet every 60 days or 60 days every 2 years, but many citizens would prefer the legislature would meet for 2 days every, yeah, 2 days every 6 years. That's a good one. I think Montana is one of only 4 states where the Congress only meets every 2 years, 4 or 5. There's not many that do that. So yeah, like I said, I kind of like it. But a good story about that I saw being in the real estate business. So about 10 years ago now, maybe 11, the legislature met and they made all these rules about marijuana. And this was before marijuana was as accepted as it is now. And they passed these rules and basically legalized it without meaning to legalize it. They made it really easy to get or to get a card. It's like you go pay somebody $10 and say you have headaches, and then they would give you a marijuana card, and then you could go to these dispensaries that popped up everywhere and show them your card and buy marijuana. And so they realized that they made a mistake and made it too easy. So 2 years later, the minute they got back in session, they totally shut it down, and all these dispensaries, they had bought up all this real estate around, the outside of towns and bought all these houses and turned them into dispensaries. And the minute the legislature got back, they shut all that down. So they realized their mistake, and they went from one extreme to the other. And that was a good example of what happens when they only meet for, once every 2 years. So let's see. Who decides where you can put your house on your land? Well, pretty much you do. But if it's already been platted out for a septic, where the septic needs to go, or, and the septic and the well have to be 100 feet apart, you'll have to take that into consideration. Or if you're, just looking to build, if there's a stream nearby, there's going to be a little bit of a setback on that. If there are covenants, there may be setbacks on the property. So there's not a simple answer for that. So yeah, that is my answer to that. Let's see. Many California people clearly watch Yellowstone and now want to move. Yeah, Yellowstone. That show definitely, did a. It showed the scenery that they do in that show is awesome, and I can see why everybody wants to move to Montana after watching that show. So the people that are blaming me for everyone moving to Montana, I think they should be looking to bigger media outlets like the Yellowstone show, because it's not me. Let's see. Your thoughts on the small towns on the Eastern Front, Choteau, Conrad, and Shelby. It's pretty over there. We were just down in Choteau. I did a video on the geese, on the goose migration, the snow geese. We went to Choteau and spent the night there and went out to Freeze Out Lake, and kind of a cool video if you haven't watched that. It's amazing the amount of birds that go through there. And it's a neat little town. I grew up in a small town like that, so it kind of reminded me of where I grew up. And so yeah, Choteau, Conrad. Shelby's a little bit bigger because it's right on the interstate, and it's kind of the first main town you come into on the interstate if you're coming from Canada. So there's a lot of service businesses there. But yeah, I mean, the prices are definitely cheaper over there. Again, because of the weather, I think, and just lack of people and lack of services, the big stores and all of that. So yeah, I don't have a problem with those towns. I kind of like them, actually. They're not as crowded. And you'd still have great views of the mountains. Once you get a little further east of Shelby, you're kind of getting to the point where you can't see the mountains anymore. But Choteau, you're definitely looking right up at the Front Range. Conrad, same thing. Shelby, again, you can see the mountains, but they're starting to get a ways out there. So, well, by the way, Missoula is more blue than a lot of California. Yeah. Yes, Missoula definitely is one of the liberal towns of Montana. So you got Missoula, Bozeman, Butte. Those are kind of the blue counties every year or every time there's an election. So let's see. Are there any large research hospitals or clinics in the state? I don't. There's a university in Missoula, but I don't know if that's a university hospital. I know there's a research facility in Hamilton, but it's not really a hospital. So yeah, I don't think we have. Maybe Billings, but I know that like the one in Kalispell is a big, nice hospital, but I don't think it's a big research hospital like you're talking about on that question. Let's see. Can you advise on conservative towns on the western side with the best schools? Top 3. Again, if you stay out of Missoula, that's kind of the liberal. If you're looking conservative, liberal, Missoula is kind of the liberal part there. So if you go down to the Bitterroot Valley, that's pretty conservative. So then you got Hamilton down there. And then if you get up in the Flathead Valley, Kalispell and Columbia Falls and Big Fork and Whitefish is on the liberal side in the valley, but it's nothing like Missoula. So I guess if you're trying to avoid, a liberal town, stay out of Missoula. Because like every college town, it seems like, a big college is in town and the town seems to be liberal. So you got Missoula and Bozeman have the big colleges in Montana, and those are the two big liberal towns. So let's see, if you're into shopping malls, there are none. That's not totally true, but if you're into big shopping malls, yeah, we don't have anything big. There's pretty big mall in Missoula. Up in Kalispell, there's not really, there's an old mall, but it's kind of dying out now. It's more the strip malls with the individual stores. Let's see. How would you rate Wyoming versus Montana living? Snow situation, a huge difference. I never lived in Wyoming, but I've been through it. And Wyoming, most of the state is pretty wide open and windy. You have the Jackson Hole area that gets a ton of snow, but I think it's still pretty windy there as well. And the snow in Montana, basically, the further north you go, the more you get. In the Flathead Valley, for example, Whitefish gets the most snow. The ski resorts up there, and then as you get closer to Flathead Lake, it gets to be a little less. So, how are the grizzly bear and mountain lion populations in Montana? Well, they are growing. When I first got to Montana 20 years ago, there were hardly any bears, and they've been protecting them, and they've definitely been increasing, and we're seeing more run-ins with people. So they're, again, kind of another politically charged thing. They're even moving east of the mountains, kind of out in the prairies, and kind of bothering people's cattle and ranchers, and they obviously don't like them killing their animals. Mountain lions, there's definitely a lot of mountain lions around here in the mountains. We don't see a whole lot of trouble with them, but you'll hear occasionally of a mountain lion killing somebody's dog or animals or whatever they're going after. So they are definitely around, so you do need to be aware of them. Let's see. Any condos or townhouses? Let's see, John, I don't know where you're asking. There are condos and townhouses that come available. Not sure where you're looking, but like I said earlier, if you want to get on our MLS site, you can send me an email and I'll hook you up, and you can see everything that I can see, and it's updated in real time, and it's a great way to look for places that are available. How is Billings? Billings is nice. It's the biggest town in Montana. It's more out in the prairie a little bit. There's some rim rocks around it. It's kind of pretty in the Old West kind of looking way. It's you don't have the big mountains out there, more of the rocky outcroppings. And Billings is a big city. There's some oil refineries there, and they have a lot of obviously the big stores, the Costco's and everything. I don't have a problem with Billings. I don't get there too much. It's about 8.5 hours from where I'm at. Kind of tells you a little bit about how big Montana is, but not a bad place. So let's see. So Bitterroot Valley, Kalispell, Hamilton, Columbia Falls, they're the most conservative with the best schools. Yeah. Yep. I would definitely check into those. And you can get on the websites for, in Kalispell, you got Glacier High, Flathead High, the two high schools there. Bitterroot Valley, you'll have Hamilton. You also have Stevensville. What's the other town? Stevensville and Corvallis, Hamilton. Check those out. How's Helena? You know what? Helena's also kind of a cool little town. I did a video on it if you want to look back in all our videos that we've done. And it's obviously the capital city, so a lot of government type business there, but it's a pretty town. There's some nice hiking around there and mountains, and yeah, not a bad place at all. Let's see. I grew up in Montana. It's the most unbelievable place in the world. I would absolutely go back if my husband's shop would allow it. Yep, it is a great place. Let's see. Can you buy a mobile there where you own the lot? Stacy says that. Yeah, you know what? There again, you'll need to check into the covenants for that particular lot. If it's in a subdivision or if it's, outside of town, you'll just, again, every piece of property is going to have different rules on it, and they don't all allow you to put a mobile home on there. So you definitely want to check that out before you pull a trigger and buy anything. And again, I can help out with that and let you know the rules for each of the lots you might be looking at. But that's one thing you definitely need to look into before you buy anything up here. And I think I've kind of hit the bottom down here with questions. So let me go over what I said at the beginning again. Down in the notes of this, I put a link for the local paper does a little contest, and I have a little wager going with some people in my office. They're not big on my YouTube channel, and I think it's the greatest thing ever, and I love talking to everybody and helping people out. So if you could vote for me for this little contest they're having in Whitefish, I put the link down below in the notes. I would really appreciate it. And also, I started a Facebook group a couple weeks ago for this channel. Again, I'm not leaving YouTube to go to Facebook. I just did the Facebook group so people can get a hold of me more on a daily basis, since I don't do the videos. I do the videos once a week. So, and again, speaking of that, I do videos every Tuesday at 1 o'clock. This week I'm down helping my daughter move, so I will not be able to put one out on Tuesday. That's why I'm doing this live. I think I'm going to start doing lives more often. I kind of like them. I like the question and answers. So if you guys have any ideas or any topics you'd like me to cover in the future on a live video, I'd be happy to do it. And again, thank you for all the questions. Thank you for the donations, everybody. Again, feel free to email me anytime. You can also give me a call anytime. My number's all down below in the notes. And yeah, with that, we're almost at an hour. So thanks everybody for tuning in. And again, if you have any other questions, email me anytime. Get on our Facebook group. You can ask me questions there. And hope everyone has a great Memorial Day weekend. And we'll see you guys on the next live stream. Thanks for tuning in.